1 is the regular city council meeting for Monday, May 12th, 2025. I will call the meeting to order. If we could all stand up and say the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please, Cheryl?
Matt Shorey?
Yeah.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Dylan Meyer?
Yep.
Adam Ryder?
Yes. Number 4, approval of the agenda. Any questions, comments? Anything on there? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve as presented.
Chad, there's country store for alcohol, cigarette licensing. All good?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Nothing that's gonna report to us.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions on anything? That was just the agenda, so hold on, Matt. That's in the consent agenda. This is just the agenda. So, can I have approval of the agenda as
Make
presented?
a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Matt Shorey?
Yes.
Dylan Meyer?
Yes.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Okay, number 5, I know we got a lot of people here. Is anybody signed up to speak for the public comments? No public comments,
No
right?
public comments are all on the agenda.
Everybody's on the agenda, okay. Okay, so we'll skip 5. Number 6, the consent agenda.
Now I can ask my
No,
question.
yeah.
Just want to throw you for a loop, right?
Make sure you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Everybody on the
Going
toes?
on quick.
Yep. Again, any questions, comments, concerns, anything on there? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Dylan Meyer?
Yes.
Matt Shorey?
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, public hearing for fiscal year 24-25 budget amendment. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Dylan Meyer?
Yes.
Matt Shorey?
Yes.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Do we have any public comments?
No,
The
no one's
amendment?
here to speak on the amendment, and we have not had any comments received at staff or office.
Okay, seeing no further comment, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Dylan Meyer?
Yes.
Matt Shorey?
Yeah.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Okay, number 8, resolution 2024-30, approval of budget amendment fiscal year 24-25. We went over this kind of in a little bit more detail last meeting. Unless there's any new comments or questions for Cheryl on anything that we talked about or that was in the amendment. We got anything? Okay, all right, can I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-30?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-30.
Second,
Second.
and roll call, please.
Matt Shorey?
Yeah.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Dylan Meyer?
Yes.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Okay, number 9, resolution 2024-26, discussion and consider approval of appointment to fill a vacancy of council member for the city of Preston. And so Lisa has thrown her hat into the ring graciously to be appointed to fill out JT's seat. I don't think you got anything. Don't mean to put you on the spot.
No
Yeah,
comment,
get
no
out, get a
comment.
speech first.
Any other discussion needed for?
They're not excited to have her on board.
Yes.
There were no other entries, or no one else showed interest, so
Okay.
Lisa was.
Fight it out.
You're a brave soul.
Okay, I discussion needed, I will ask for a motion to approve resolution 2024-26.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-26.
Second,
Second.
and roll call, please.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Matt Peterson,
Yes.
Matt Shardy,
Yes.
Dylan Meyer.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna do the oath of office now.
You can bring your stuff.
That way you can jump right in.
You raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Lisa Buddy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties
discharge all duties
of the office
of the office
of Preston City Council
of Preston City Council
in Jackson County
in Jackson County,
as now or hereafter required by law.
in here now
As now or hereafter
ever
required by law.
law.
You're in.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's jump down to number 11. Okay, stormwater drainage, discussion on Davis Street. Isabel Ringen, Connie Gerber, Chad Rowling, and Elaine Jensen are here. So guys, I guess if you wanna kinda step up, or that's fine, you can just stay there. Or if one of you wants to step up whenever you guys talk, I guess whatever you wanna do is fine, but I guess just kinda give us some feedback on what you're dealing with down there.
Our water, the drainage down there, we've been complaining for 3 years, and it's getting really bad. There's roots way big, somebody's gonna break their ankle.
And I don't think my property should be the city stormwater drainage district. It's making a big mess out of my field. This last rain that we had about 2.5 weeks ago, that tube would not take that water, and I had water running completely down my driveway and cutting another trench down into the field, out in the field in the ponds, right just about at the end of my property. And the other one, when it does go by Ron and Isabel's, and down by Danny Edwards's, and cuts in the field there, that rain was all the way down through the whole east, or south side of my property, down to just about the end of my property on that side, and then putting her connected with the other, so all it is a big mud hole.
Are you to the east of Johnson's then?
Yeah,
Are you right next to them, or are you down, are you
Down
the White
that
House
driveway.
down?
down the driveway.
Okay, okay.
And I worked all my butt off to try to have a place like that and keep it looking decent, and now what do I got? It's,
And it comes clear across the street, cause I'm on Orrin and Davis corner, and it comes clear over to my curb.
Mhm.
In the wintertime, when it goes down so far, it'll pool over by Gary Driscoll's and then run into her field. It's like a mosquito fest.
Was it last 2-year winter or last winter? It was so icy there, you couldn't even go around the corner, you could've went right in her driveway, slid right in, and it ponded up that bad. And I went on the back side of the sidewalk of hers with the loader and scooped it out, just trying to get the water out.
And that sidewalk needs replaced down there too, at the end where it meets with ours. That belongs to the city, it's bad.
The one that crosses that, where it
Yes.
used to be
Where the
an alley
water
there.
runs underneath
Yes.
it.
So I just kinda, just speak for myself here, guys. So last year when we were doing the Amos Street project, we had Eastern Iowa take a look at that time. And just to get us kind of a price range to see, what it would take if we would redo, some of that culvert and piping to get that down to that stormwater drain. And take it for what it is, it was just one bid, it was while they were here, but they came back with $30,000 to $40,000 price tag
And what we were
to.
told.
Yeah, we were told 10,000.
No.
Why they had
When
the
guys were
equipment
down there,
here.
They said it.
Yes, he
They
told
said
us
it.
that.
No, I
That
have it,
Mark did.
yeah, and I have it in the email if you guys wanna see it, but, that was what we were quoted from Eastern Iowa while they were on site last summer doing that street project.
What really was the reason why they put that drain in my field to start with? There was no water that ever ran down in the field over on that side.
How long has that drain been in there? I guess I don't know.
Probably 6, 7 years.
That's only recent, like 6 or 7 years.
That was, the drain down by her field was put in when they did Amos Street on mine.
Oh, okay, so it's been probably
Yeah,
10 years.
not connected to,
Nothing's connected to that.
okay, got it. Is that the drain you're talking about? That's an inlet, isn't it? Or-
That one was there.
Yeah, that one was there.
That's the one I'm talking about that was there.
It's
That
right
was
on the
from- that was
corner
from
where
Amos
my
Street to
fence
begin with.
post, is my line marker is at for fence post. It's just right in the field, it ain't in the field very far, there's still stakes around it, whoever's farming it knows that it's there. But there's no water that runs down behind there, down.
Yeah, right there is where she builds out that picture to the left.
Yep,
Yeah, that fence post that is down there in that corner, kinda.
yep.
Is that what you're
behind
talking
Beaver
about?
Mountain.
Yeah, well, no, actually right where the roadside's at. That's
I can't
where,
see it.
so if you go, I can even see it when I drive by, you look at that road ditch, underneath that culvert that goes like this, the dirt
And
goes
that's the
up.
sidewalk.
Oh, you're
that
talking
needs
that-
replaced.
I'm talking where that's where that sidewalk's bad
Yeah,
too.
And that goes uphill.
Yep.
Where that hole is at, you stand there and look at it, it goes uphill on the south side of that sidewalk.
So,
And that's where we're getting all the backup coming.
so hence the problem, when we can show some pictures. You know, I went down there, I think Matt went down there last fall,
Yeah, me and Tom.
when a call came in and dug it out. I went down there in March and show the pictures that I sent. That, I'm gonna call it a culvert underneath the sidewalk, was completely full of leaves.
Yeah,
So it
Well,
was,
we don't even have a tree.
well, a lot of us don't have trees, but that was the problem why it was backing up. The city guys went down there, last week, and when we had the call again, dug it out again, and you can see on the south side of it, they dug all the dirt out around it. So that's,
Underneath
It
the
goes
cement.
uphill.
They dug a
Where
big
the
hole
hole
underneath
is
it.
under
so
there,
that's,
yeah.
but hence why it was backing up in the street.
Well, then why did it run down my driveway and cause it run down through my
Because it was
field?
back, because that was plugged up.
How would it have
Connie.
been plugged up right after Ray dug it out that day? We seen Ray dig it out.
Because when that's dug out, I went up there and looked, at it. When that's dug out and cleaned, water does not even come close to your driveway, Connie.
Yes.
I mean, I look,
Yes,
wow.
it does.
Not when,
Yes,
not
it
when that is
does.
completely dug out, it doesn't.
Yes, it
It
does.
is.
No, I don't agree. I live right there too. I mean,
Yeah.
but see how plugged up it was?
yeah, right on,
I try to
on
clean
this
that
back
out
side?
myself.
that should be dug and sloped.
How come you don't have no pictures of all the roots a little bit further down? That somebody's gonna fall and break an ankle in.
Well, we're talking, well, let's talk one thing at a time though. I mean, with the water backing up, when that is dug out, when that is completely clean and not blocked with any leaves or anything else, there is
I
a.
don't believe that.
Well, I guess, so our city guys are going to clean that help me out.
Every Wednesday, the street sweeper's gonna go around.
When the
Or they
street
go
sweeper-
around.
Well, let's not every week, cause they're not, they go every other week on certain sections. So it'll be every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
They don't hit every street every Wednesday.
Because we do, don't get me wrong, we do feel, but,
I've lived down there over 40 years and I've always had water in my field after rain.
oh, I agree in your
And
water
I mean,
field.
just right straight down and
100%, Connie. I get that it goes down there and goes in your field. Like you said, it's done that forever.
But isn't there an ordinance that says, you can't have your rainwater running off your roof on your neighbor's lawn? Isn't there an ordinance in this town for that?
Not that
That you're liable, you're supposed to have decent drainage pipes?
I'm aware of, no.
Well, it's
It is
different
in
than
every other city.
There's,
I don't
and
think
there's
there's a-
somebody else.
I'd
that
have to
said
look. I
there's
can't
an
say that for
ordinance in
sure.
this town
Yeah.
about that.
You know, there's a lot of water in town that runs into different areas. I mean, that's.
But our street has one, or Davis Street has one drain, and that's by Kurt and Chris Gilbert's.
Yeah, and over in front of Bummer Scuffs. We don't have no more going down them streets.
There's no water sitting on those streets in front of Bummers or in front of Chris and Kurt's.
I know, because they
No,
have the
that's a
drain
drain-
spouts.
They got a drain
I
thing.
mean, the other one was right in Lance Simmons' corner, but it sits there all winter
It
long.
sits there too all winter.
Yeah, I'm
That's
just,
a nice rink in the
when,
winter.
again, every time we've gone down there, I'm just speaking, I'm not trying to, you know,
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
saying, when we go down there and clean it, every time we've had a complaint, that thing's been completely damn, almost plugged off.
We were there a day after the complaint.
Well, I'll take a picture next time it rains
Darn
and
right,
there's
I
gonna
have
be
them
no
on my-
leaves in there and it's still gonna be backed up. I got pictures on my phone at home, I'm sure.
We just need to, I guess we need to look again, you know, but again, it goes back to, like Tyler said, when it's 30 to 40,000, and that was when they had their equipment here, to do that, you know, when we prioritize the dollars in Preston, and again, we understand, we're not trying to say there's not water running, we all understand that there's water running in different parts of town, but that's not number one priority right now. When you look up, let's say, I'll use the Catholic Church, for example, the way that's eroding out, things like that, you know, and the road's right there narrow, and there's all kinds of traffic and kids there, you know, that's probably a bigger priority than this would be on our minds. You know, there's a lot of things we have to do, and there's only so many dollars to go around, I guess is our point. I mean, we're not trying to push away. I mean, I don't think anybody's having water in your homes or anything like that. I mean,
Well, that was gonna be my
that's a
next
whole nother,
question.
that's a whole nother story, you know?
Has any of that backup caused
It has
damage?
before in the past and, what's his name's house?
Oh, Danny?
Danny
Danny
Edwards,
Edwards,
years ago, yeah.
next door, and he can't be here tonight because he's working. He's
That's
getting
when-
off
that's
at
when
7.
That's when Scotty Tebby owned the house at that time.
And we know the water runs down that way and goes there. I mean,
But it needs to be
Like
done.
it has for a long time, but we just, again, to prioritize and spend $40,000 on that, the money's not there to do it right now.
Well, what do we pay the stormwater?
Yeah.
What's
we're
the
not
extra
getting-
money?
Again, is it causing damage to your homes? I don't know what else, I'm just trying to be blunt, I mean,
It's causing damage to my property. That field is
is
my
it washing,
property.
it's washing the dirt away in your field, Connie?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
They're
I'm
making a
asking.
mud hole so I can't have it, I mean, it's, who's ever is renting it so I can pay my taxes to live in the town of Preston. It's causing big havoc for them, cause they ain't getting the crops they should out of where that wet spot stays,
Understood.
so.
How big of a wet spot do you think pools down there?
Well, the one now that's coming in from by the shed and down on the northeast corner, I'll bet that probably is about a quarter of this room here. And that comes down on the south side and then runs back down on the other side, and they damn near join each other. And that's about as long as what this room is.
So you think it's an acre?
Huh?
You think it's an acre?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say an acre, about a half an acre, but still,
Is,
it's just a plain nuisance.
is the bigger concern the water in the field or the water on the street? If we could solve one of them, I think it's gonna worsen the other one potentially, in the short term.
Well, if the water in the street was taken care of, I wouldn't have the water in my field.
But if we get that to
Well,
drain
yeah,
better, I
yeah.
think it's gonna.
See, there's a stake along the street where they put survey last year,
Okay,
and see, that runs right straight down to that drainage thing that's in my field. And Gary Driscoll
He told both of us.
he told both of us that one day we were talking about it. He says, I mentioned to have that run down through here and hook up to that other one. And he says, nothing's been done, so
He did tell us that.
that's the honest to God's truth.
I'm kinda surprised they popped up in the middle of the field. Something happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just to getting back to what Matt was kinda saying was, I mean, I think the $30,000 to $40,000 price tag was redoing, that little corner section, putting a drain in there, and then piping it all the way down, you know, to that bottom, inlet, that's all the way down there by Gary's.
If it just runs down to that
Yes,
one,
I-
that
so-
drain thing down in the field already, then the rest of it is done to go
Okay.
correct.
But I mean, I think getting back to Matt's point is, unless we're willing to spend that kind of money, and it's probably gonna be a higher price tag now than it was last summer. You know, if we would try to do an easier fix of just, you know, opening that up think it's gonna create more problems for you down there, Connie, is what I'm worried about. Is because that water's not gonna pool in the corner and release down through that little hollow, you know, down in there. It's gonna go all
Put
at
in there
once.
right, cause it's going downhill.
Yeah, it's a
should
low
run-
area.
It should run
Yeah.
right into the creek.
Well, it's gotta get to the creek, though, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
all the
That-
pressure
That's a
goes
low
up
area.
behind all
Yeah.
that water.
That's because there's, where the old road used to be, that's higher than where
Well, they gotta
Isabel's
dig
at.
down through, yeah.
It gets flooded up and it takes off, because
Yeah.
this comes down like this.
And I think putting a tube in down there is not gonna help it either.
Underneath that
Yes,
sidewalk is what you're saying?
cause Cundy told me that he had to come and get footage of how long the tube that he needed to order. I don't think that's gonna work.
That's still gonna.
He said he had to replace it, he was gonna
Doesn't change anything.
put a tube in.
Or to keep the road clear, but it would still be in the field.
Yeah, I think, and I'm just gonna speak for myself again, I mean, we appreciate you guys coming and letting us know, and I think we're more than willing to try and work, with you guys on this, but at the same time too, we gotta try to, kinda like Matt said, there's only so many dollars we have, and we have
Put another park in.
we have priority, we have other priorities too that need attention as well, and I don't take this the wrong way, I'm not trying to diminish your issue down there at all. And we understand it's an issue, it's been an ongoing issue. I guess from a city standpoint, the perfect solution would be to dig that all out and put another, inlet in there and get it all the way down to the bottom, and it can go to the inlet, down to the creek, that's perfect scenario, but, I guess we have to look at it from a dollar standpoint as well, and try to make our money go the farthest we can and use it, to the best of our abilities, so.
They don't have no grant money for stuff like that?
I see.
The grant money is a nice, it's a nice idea, but for stormwater, there's not. Like when we did Amos, we tried looking for grants for that, there's nothing out there for. We can do a $25,000 grant from Jackson County, but there's no guarantee we can get that. And then again, 25,000 only goes,
That's pretty much.
that's
just
maxed out, that's the
That's just
most,
transportation, you
Yeah.
can't use it for stormwater.
we can't use it for stormwater, okay.
I know there's an organization called Lincoln Way that you can submit
Yeah.
paperwork for. It's not a grant because it's not a federally organized organization. It's basically, to put it bluntly, people with a lot of money invest it to where you put in for the money, whether it's fire equipment, because I know Goose Lake has done several gifts for new helmets, respirators, that type of thing. And cities can apply for that,
Okay,
and they have to have the paperwork done by the first part of January. So there's a possibility of looking into that and see whether, since the city has got so many environmental projects, that maybe, I know that when I went to the meeting, there was a guy that gave $1 million to help small cities, because he liked small cities.
sure.
So, I mean, there could be money there, but somebody's gotta do the paperwork for that.
Yeah, we can certainly look into that. I've
So,
never
you know,
heard of
if,
it, yeah.
if it ends up relieving our problem, great.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm waiting for somebody to go scooting around that corner too fast when it's ice and end up rolling down Connie's driveway or in Edwards's front yard.
Yeah.
And that's my concern in the wintertime, if it's icy and then we get the rain like we did this year, this last winter,
Yeah,
you know, I'm new to living in Preston, but it evidently is a well-known fact that that's an ice pond, and they slow down in the wintertime to go around that corner. But in the summertime,
Yeah, like I said, I won't disagree or fight you at all. It's been an ongoing problem. We're certainly aware of that. I guess our just discussion internally right now is to try and have the city guys, when they're out, street sweeping, to stop, while they're in that area and make sure that that is cleaned out underneath there, to try and avoid any ponding or pooling there.
Well, they got first try slowing up that sweep it, there's a couple of them that drive like they're in a hurry to get done, they're driving real fast, they're sweeping.
4 feet away from.
Yeah, and 4 feet away from that curb that they in. Yeah, and then when they said the milk truck was there, the milk truck gets parked in their driveway, and on Wednesdays, yeah.
Yeah, that's appreciated too, to keep that, I'd mentioned that to Chelsea, is it
Yeah.
just so happened if the milk truck's sitting there, it'd be hard to get in,
No.
because he parks it in the driveway.
Even
which
like in the
Yeah.
winter
Sorry, guys, out
time,
a lot.
he parks it in there, in his own, in their own driveway in the winter time too, so cities go by,
Yeah.
you know?
And we know by just cleaning it, that doesn't fix all the problems. Hopefully,
No.
it helps out the street, it doesn't help Connie's problem at all. We completely understand that.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we appreciate you guys coming in and voicing your concerns to us, and like I said, we understand that it's a problem down there, but I guess just from this conversation, I hope you guys can kind of understand a little bit too, from the city standpoint of where we're trying to do the best we can with what we have, and the different projects.
See that sidewalk, that's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not that it's not on our radar, it is on our list of things, it's not number one.
Okay, do you guys have anything, any other?
You gotta ask about her sidewalk.
I can ask about it right now. I don't have the funds to fix it.
Is there anything else?
Well, I'm supposed to redo my sidewalk. Well, I don't have the funds to fix that right now.
Okay,
And if I do replace it, in which there hasn't been anybody that has walked on that sidewalk, hardly ever.
Everybody's in the street.
Everybody is in the street.
Yep.
And like with the letter that I got that said I'd be liable if somebody fell on it, well, I'm gonna still be reliable if I put a new one in, right?
correct, yes.
So,
we do have the sidewalk program available to help,
Yeah.
offset the cost of the concrete, so, I guess I would encourage anybody and anybody to sign up for that, that's there to try and help, alleviate potential costs, so.
How does that work? She
Yeah.
pays to have somebody tear it out and then the city helps pay for the cement or what?
Yes,
Yeah, you pay the labor, and then the city up to a certain dollar amount will pay for the concrete for it.
yeah, but how much concrete, how many feet of concrete?
There should be enough there, I think.
$1,200, I think. I just did mine. That's a pretty good stretch, and I'm looking
Yeah,
at
but mine's
$800.
longer than yours is going. I know where you're at.
Yeah, but I'm rough, I mean, give you a rough estimate, mine was $800, and it got done last week.
Yeah.
And that's the money that the city will pay for.
yeah, in talking about, the sidewalks, I know that was a topic down there too. The council, the city paid for the sidewalks, the residents did not pay a penny for those sidewalks. The only thing that the residents paid for was a percentage of the curb and gutter.
When is that supposed to be put in if it's so important,
What's that?
the sidewalk?
When is it supposed to put in?
What's the deadline on it?
What did we, I don't know if we,
Deadline in the letters.
I think we decided January 1st, or at least make an attempt by then to
Yeah.
get something going.
yeah,
Well, January 1st, you go to put it in anyways.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, at least you have a plan or.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's January 1st, talk to city and work out some sort of arrangement.
Okay.
Not that it would necessarily have to be done by that time.
okay, well, thank you everybody for coming in and talking to us tonight, we appreciate it. Okay. Let's jump to 12, West Street Lot, discussion on sale, and Joe Christensen and Jesse Kilberg are here. So guys, I guess I don't know who wants to go first, but you guys can step up.
Jesse Kilberg, Kilberg Equipment here in Preston. Everybody, I think, know with me, and we discussed kind of personally with everybody a little bit on the side here, kind of what we got going on, except Lisa. I tried catching, you're always busy. So Joe has a lot for sale. That's is it DeGrove Street? I don't even know. I just call it West Street. I just call it Side Cross Road. But Joe has that lot there he bought a few years ago. There's currently 3 houses there now that are all in lot and a half. Joe has a single lot, was going to build a house, decided to reinvest, bought a house in town.
I didn't have a choice, they had twins, not part of the
plan. We're growing like crazy. We're 7 years in business. We've purchased the lot. We started leasing the West Bay, then we started leasing the Campbell's old shop, and 2 years ago we purchased everything. We purchased the 3-acre cornfield behind it. This last fall we built a 60 by 80 shop on it. Butt was in and just poured the concrete, finished the floor. I'm kind of going to go in 2 directions here on why this is important to Kilberg Equipment, this lot. The utilities right now to hook in, we got to come over by Joel Borman's, and that sanitary sewers is 4 foot deep. It's very shallow there. That's the old sanitary, I believe, that don't go down to the lift station. The new sanitary along the West Street is 9 foot, 8 to 9 foot deep. I stopped and pulled it. It's plenty deep, and that one goes down to the lift station. I'm guessing down by the walking trail. So there ain't no flow. I can't. It isn't going to be a working shop. It's just going to be storage. Matt was down tonight. There's about $3 million worth of trucks sitting outside of brand new trucks. We're going to have a little melt off and stuff like that. So we're going to have to hook our floor drain into the sanitary sewer, which right now would have to go down to, like I said, by Joel Borman's. It's only about 4 feet deep. About 80 foot before that, it's even lower. The ground's even lower. So that sanitary sewer is only going to be about 3 foot deep, and it's always wet there. So I know frost goes deep. So that's one of my concerns. The other one is it's a little harder to get to water. Water will have to come all the way down too, and then go up by Joel Driscoll through a hydrant there that ends, I believe, at Joel's. There's way more pressure for water over on the new line runs, I think, straight down to the industrial center for water. So I would like to buy the lot from Joe. I know Joe originally bought it for a house. His plans changed. We've since then also bought West Side Auto, which I think everybody knows. We were going to kind of keep it for storage. We're looking like we're going to have to, we're just growing too fast, which is a good thing and it's a bad thing. We have 9 full-time employees, all local, all in the area, and 4 part-time, mostly high school kids, but we're teaching them how to weld, which is good. I lost my train of thought. We bought West Side Auto. We're going to have to do some small projects down there. Like right now, we got to get the fork truck around. It's a pain in the butt. We got to go down and around and in. So I don't want to build anything on it. I talked to Gary Rowling. He would like to have half of it too, but it ain't a make or break for him. It's not a make or break for me either, Kilberg Equipment, but it would greatly appreciate it. That, and I showed Matt and Dylan today too. Another problem is Grant Street comes and it deadheads in front of Joel's. It's 60 foot wide and it narrows down to 30 foot. So there's a little 30 foot sliver that goes across about 80 foot of my property to get onto that. With bigger trucks and stuff like that, it'd be nicer for them to come right off the highway, turn. Like I said, all I'm gonna do is have Cundy come in, trench down 2 foot, put in some big ass rock, make it nice and firm, and put some lighter rock on it and drive across it. I've talked with Gary, the closest neighbor. He's okay with it. Again, the lot is a single lot where every other lot there's a lot and a half. So whoever builds a house there, it's going to have to be a little narrower and longer. It's not the most ideal lot when you got Kuhnau's right there and my place right there. Especially the city has all these beautiful lots up on. The city ain't short on lots, I guess is what I'm looking at, with all these nice lots up by the Catholic Church that are set up and curb and guttered and ready to go. Like I said, I could do something, today we're ready to buy it, purchase it. Joe, lawyers have talked, I know you guys have too, on different things, if we need permission, if we don't. I don't wanna go down that road. I appreciate what you guys do. I know this job there's no great benefits from this job. I know the city's in safe and caring hands. We would just like your blessing and your approval, your whatever we need to go down this road. Tilbury Equipment ain't going anywhere. You know, we're gonna continue to invest, you know, in this town. My plan is, again, so we're paying 4 utility bills right now. That back building, we got hooked up to power earlier this year. We'll have it hooked up to sewer, hopefully in the next month or 2 here, depending on how this goes. I'd like it to take it to the deeper sewer if possible, but if we have to go to the shallower sewer, we'll figure that out as we go. In the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even sooner, put another 80 by 100. I got room for about 4, if not 5 there. Most of them would be for me, but what I would like to see as well, you go to other cities, and I deal with a lot of cities, Coralville, Iowa City, whatever. On the edges of town, there's big construction buildings like I put up, just steel sheds. And they put in 5 bays, they climate control them, floor, drains, bathrooms, and 2 bays like this go to a construction guy, 1 bay goes to a carpet guy, 1 bay goes to a landscaper. There's a huge need. I've asked around this area, there's a huge need for people that need something like that. A lot of people pay $300, $400, $500 a month just to put their darn campers in a heated. I know there's there's a retirement village or whatever going on over there, but that corner is just way nicer and easier to sweep. And I ain't talking, we're not talking 100 trucks, you know, a week. We're talking 1 to 2 trucks, maybe a week, just to sneak in that way and for me to get my Ford truck over to West Side Auto when we need to without going down the darn highway and having a truck follow, because we could go there, straight across, go down around the loop and be right at West Side. I understand the city's plight. I'd like a house there too, you know, little kids, family, you know, utilities, but I think our Tilbury Equipment with the 4 utilities we have now cover, you know, a pretty good amount. We pay a pretty good amount, you know, a couple grand in the winter worth of utilities. And like I said, we're not just stopping with this one. There's going to be a couple more buildings, so the utilities will go up from there. So it ain't like you're looking at a loss for utilities. You'll probably eventually gain a few extra ones because each building will be on a separate meter, I'm guessing, separate bill or whatever. But that's my 2 cents. I know Joe's got just a couple things to say too, but yeah.
All right, well, Jesse pretty much covered everything. I know that when I think last time I was at a council meeting, it was to discuss me purchasing this lot. And I gave you all my word that I was gonna build a house there. So by me attempting to sell it to Jesse and Jesse asking you guys to give a blessing or give approval, that's got nothing to do with him and his business. I'm breaking my word. I get it. Plans change. I had twins. I could go on, but it is what it is. I gave you guys my word I was going to build a house there in 4 years, and I broke my word because my plans changed. I need a bigger house now, not 8 months down the road. I mean, like I said, Jesse kind of covered everything. I don't have near the attributes to the city of Preston that Jesse does because, like you said, he's got 15 guys working for him, all local guys. I took a couple houses that should have been condemned and now they're not, and they're worth something now. I guess that's my biggest contribution to the city of Preston. But by no means don't hold me breaking my word against Jesse. When I bought this new place, or that place, when I bought my new house, to me, I reached out to Jesse and I reached out to the Rollings because they were both the neighbors. They both said they were interested. Jesse wanted it for his drive, obviously, and I don't need to repeat what he said. It makes a hell of a lot of sense for him, right? And for the growth of his business. And the Rollings just wanted it because why not? It's a lot next door. It's more room for all my grandkids to run in, right? And Jesse approached you guys about buying it, you know, wanted to make sure that everything was good, everybody was in good graces. And you guys said, well, we really want a house there, and I get it. But I didn't try to sell it to anybody else because it makes so much sense for Jesse and for the growth of his business that I really want Jesse to buy this property so that he can continue to grow. And I mean, let's be honest, big business, small business, any kind of business is good for a town the size of Preston. So I'm just trying, at this point, because I can put a for sale sign in it, and I might sell it tomorrow, I might sell it in a year, I don't know. But I haven't done that, because I wanna help Jesse, and I wanna help his business, and I wanna help the town. So, don't hold me breaking my word against Jesse, because that's on me. And I apologize for that, because I did. I gave you all my word 4 years ago that I was gonna build a house there. Or 3 years ago, that I was gonna build a house there, and now I'm not. So, I guess that's my piece. Thanks, guys, I appreciate, y'all letting us speak.
Thank you, guys.
I guess I'll start. I 100% agreement with what you guys have said. There's not a whole lot there to argue with. I guess, I'll be honest, just speaking for myself, I was kind of surprised when this came back up on the agenda, because I thought at the last time it got brought up, it kind of made our feelings known on kind of where we stood on this thing. But we'll leave it there. I guess we need to look at a lot of different viewpoints on this thing, and from a city standpoint, I guess what concerns me the most is setting a precedent, right? So if we have other lots, like Jess said, we have other lots in town that are for sale. If this one is to be sold as a residential lot, and then we go ahead and say, yeah, go ahead, it's not a big deal. We're tying our hands for something else to happen down the road at one of these other lots that are in the same legal contract as this one, okay? That's my biggest concern with it, is if we give the go-ahead on this one, what's to say next year somebody buys a lot in Marvin's and they say, oh, I'm just buying it and then I'm gonna sell it to this guy because he wants to build a garage on it. But I had to buy it first and sell it to him, to misstep the legal contract, right?
And what, the difference is, or what I've been told by, because he had a lawyer and his lawyer talked with the gal that we use, it just, nothing, we're not gonna go down that road, I don't plan on going down that road. But they're saying, the information from the contract did not get transferred to the deed on this one, it's his lot within the city. All these other lots are city lots, still in the city name, still deeded, so the city can add whatever lingo they want to them. It's not a done deal. When you sell a lot up there, you can say, hey, it's written in the deed. Joe's lawyer and my lawyer are talking, there was a contract, but it was not put in the deed in abstract. And that's what they pulled, what the lawyers pulled.
There's no deed restrictions on that lot.
And so you guys can put deed restrictions on the lots you still have. So that's, and like I said, I'm not a fan of lawyers or whatever, I'm just telling you a little bit of information in the rabbit hole we went down,
That was not my end game either. I'm
No.
selling it for the same price I paid you guys, so I've lost money paying taxes and whatnot, so,
No, and
just so we're clear.
Yeah, we thank you for that.
And I don't know, like I said, kind of told Matt, I don't need the lot now, I need it, 6 months, a year, 2 years from now. It would help me now, but I'm really gonna need it. Down the road is what I'm looking for, our growth and future development with Preston. Can we market the hell out of it? Have Joe get a realtor involved, market the hell out of it for 60 days, 90 days, and see if we can't get a house? We can get a quick buyer and someone says they want to build a house in 6 months, 8 months. I'm 100% for it. I agree with you guys. And then say 9 months, or this fall even, I know Joe would like to get out from under it with his money. That's probably not the best scenario, but just like I said, with all the conversations I had, maybe, like I said, market the hell out of it, find someone that says, hey, we're gonna buy it, we got the money, and we're ready to break ground in 6 to 8 months, not gonna sit on it for 4 years or something like that, and say, hey, Joe did his due diligence, and it ain't selling, no one, we got these pre-lots up here for the same price as this one, you don't got ag equipment next to us, and Gilbert Equipment, Ruckus, and then say, hey, let's, it didn't sell, and maybe it is in best interest for the city to get, just these utilities, rather than it just sit there as a hayfield, 1 acre hayfield for the next 10 years. And like I said, I didn't go any farther asking neighbors. Gary was the closest one. I'll gladly knock on doors. I don't want to be that neighbor, to anybody. I don't want to be that businessman. But that was just kind of a last minute thing too. I was thinking of, at least it gives us a little, you know, just, hey, we tried, or, you know. And like I said, I mean, if the city wants to approve it tonight and say, yeah, I'm game for that too, I'll buy it tomorrow, but I think that's just at least, it's a compromise to show where everybody's was trying. I mean, we get a realtor, I don't know, does it cost you anything just to sign them up for?
No, they don't make
Throw
nothing
some-
unless it sells.
That's
so.
what I thought, you know, maybe Joe can get, if Joe can get 30,000 for it, I don't know, but that's just, that was one of my, to revisit it, like I said, I didn't wanna just come here, that's why, and I apologize, the last meeting I was out of town, so I didn't know exactly, I didn't watch or read the meetings, I didn't know where kind of the direction was going, so that's why I just kind of personally reached, I caught Adam on a walk one day, and I caught Matt getting his hair cut, and I bought, got a lawnmower, so. Like I said, I don't know if that's
And these guys can all speak for themselves, they can all, like I said, I was just kind of started off speaking for myself.
Yeah.
These guys all, whoever's.
And I know you guys have the city best heart at mind, and like I said, we appreciate all you do, we're just coming from a business side.
Yeah, and Jess, we're the same way. So Joe, we appreciate you, buying that and initially, with the intention of building a house on it. That's, that was the goal that we were, wanting. And I get it, everybody's plans change. There's no, absolutely nothing personal on any of this deal.
Yeah.
Towards Christensen's or towards Jess, you guys are building something great down there, and the city wants to be here to support you, however we can. Like I said, that.
I looked, I didn't see, but maybe you guys can look. There don't look like, between the houses, I was hoping there were some utility easements to where I could get my water and sewer, even if I didn't get the lot over to West Street, but there's not that either, so that's one of the.
I don't think there is like.
No, like I said, I
You got
thought,
two
a lot of
streets.
cities, every 5 lots will have 10 foot on each side, just,
Right.
you can't put trees and stuff on, just so I could get there, because I am nervous about the sanitary sewer. I know it's the older version we're tying into. If I could get into that 8 foot, I could have a lot more fall, but the 600 foot is gonna cost around 8,000 just to get from my shed to that short manhole, and I'd much rather spend another 2,000-3,000 and get to that 9 foot deep
I don't blame you. I
manhole.
I guess, hey, everybody else speak up on your opinion.
So say we do go down the route and you market the hell out of it and it does sell, what's the next step then? Like say there's a house that's gonna go there.
Then I'm gonna not have a choice and have to go to that 4 foot manhole and, have issues in the winter probably. We're gonna clean out every 100 foot in that, so I can, I do have equipment or whatever, but everybody knows frozen shitter lines ain't a good thing in the middle of winter.
On that too though, Jesse, won't you build up over top of that?
I don't know.
To go across
I
this?
don't know, it's
So
gonna
won't
take
that
a
raise
little
it?
engineering to figure out, again, back to the drainage, just cause that's the lowest part. That literally don't drop an inch from the corner of Kunaws all the way around in front of Kunaws and all the way out to Birch Hemley's. I mean, there'll be 1.5 foot of water sitting in, on a rain day like they had the other day, that whole 1 acre will be under 1 foot of water.
Usually
Usually,
where the ditch is, if you could, and I'm just talking out loud, if you'd raise that up so that transition would be, and then you could put, there'd be storm sewer inlets into that.
just put some culverts under it or something.
Exactly, and then it would go into that, and you'd raise it up so your 4 foot could end up being 6 foot or 7
Yeah,
foot.
the problem though is, they're worried about is I'm only gonna get a 1%, cause I have to be 4 feet coming out of my building and 4 feet there, and there's only 2 foot of fall, and it's 700 feet, and they wanna have 2% minimum, the city does and the plumber does, and I'm gonna be at about 1.5% with a very low, as of now, 1 toilet and 1 drain. If there was 5 houses, 6 houses hooked up to it, and everybody was taking a bath every night and showering, and it was getting flushed out, they said, a little toilet paper and waste is gonna make it 100 yards, it's gonna sit there for 2 days, dry out, and then, a little more, and a little more, and a little more, and you're just gonna have issues. It's gonna be low use at first, and it's gonna be very flat. To where if I went to that 8 foot, 9 foot main, I could go 3-4%, and you don't have to worry about anything, because nothing's gonna stop with a gallon of water till it gets to the end. That's the main, that and the freezing is my main concern.
But you still, I guess you could go deeper though, you still come down that ditch line and then go along Kunos fence.
Kunos fence line,
You're
yeah.
going deeper, I get it.
Yeah, I'm picking up 4 foot of fall. Just cause I'm guessing that goes to the lift station.
Can we talk with, the lawyers? One thing I kind of thought about was, with this being, what's this subdivision called? That's got purging, Ryder, rolling, somebody got it.
McNeil something or another.
Two possibly?
I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right.
Like, is there something we can put in the writing that says, hey, you know, for this one instance, we will forego the contract because this is the last plot of land in this subdivision. So that way, I understand instead of opening up and, you know, opening up a can of worms by doing this once, but with this being the last plot of land for this subdivision, if we put something in the writing that it's only this plot of land, I'm not saying we have to go this way or whatever, this is just me talking, that won't affect the other side of West Street, like where your lot is, it won't affect, up there at Harvest Heights, you know, that's a whole different.
That has its own.
Exactly, so I don't, is there something, that's one thing I would like you to look into, is like, hey, that way we are able to work this out, possibly, and then not open ourselves up to possible situations down the road, was one thing that I had thought about.
Yeah, and I know our lawyers are, you know, saying one thing and yours are saying the other, and I didn't get lawyers involved just to look this up. I had to get, as big a business as we are to buy something, you know, our lawyers know everything we're gonna do before we're gonna do it, just to make sure we can get approval to tell him, yeah, I want to do it. And I know they're saying one thing, I don't know if they wanna talk, or if yours was Melissa, and Melissa stopped doing it, and it's some co-part of hers into it, I don't know her name, Jeff, but like I said, I know they're, and that's what lawyers do, and that's how they make their money, they say one thing and say another.
And that's why we had it written the way we did, you know, and obviously ours is saying we do have a leg to stand on, you know.
Yep.
We wrote it this way, so we didn't come into issues like
Yeah.
this, you know, initially, you know,
And-
and again, things change, we understand that, you know, but that's why it was written like it was, so it was residential property, you know, we went through this a few years back where a person wanted to build a commercial shed on it, you know, and we ended up voting that down because, you know, it was residential property, so we said no once,
Right.
you know, not too many years ago.
Yeah, and that was the point I was gonna bring up, and the issue at that time was that it was determined that a standalone shed there, you know, didn't fit the characteristics of a residential area.
Right.
And, you know, I think this probably, I would say, is kind of in the same boat. You know, and then one concern I have too is with, the senior housing, like you mentioned, I mean, you know, you'd be basically pulling out right in front of where that's gonna be. So, those are, you know, probably the biggest concerns that I have.
There's a semi shop though, right on the corner that pulls in and out 15 times a day that rents right there too. I mean, looking at that, I know, I understand that side, but and like I said, we're not talking 10, 15 trucks a day, we're talking literally 1 or 2 trucks a week and like 4 trucks.
Have you had has Tim from the city been down there to talk to you about the sewer and stuff like that?
Tim come down when we originally looked at trying to hook it up, because we were worried, Brandon's worried enough about it, he wanted to put in a holding pit, because he didn't think it was actually gonna make it to there and then just come stick it out. Tim don't want, because that opens up a whole nother can of worms, you know, pretty much a private septic system in Preston, because he was worried about getting there. It's just that whole, back to a drainage thing, that whole area there is just so pancake flat and no terrain, it makes it tough. And,
Yeah, I guess I'd like to, you know, get with Tim and, you know, talk with him more about it, I guess, stuff like that.
Tim was the one who, recommended putting in a clean out, you know, every 100 foot or so, just when we do have problems, it's quick, easy access, which is no big deal, but
Okay. I guess, to me, is it, well, it's just discussion tonight, so we're not gonna, you know,
yeah.
vote yes or no on it, but, I guess to me, I think it's, more of a discussion maybe, for council. I don't know if we wanna put it on the agenda for next week, or next meeting, or what everybody's thoughts are, just to kinda keep things moving here.
Yeah, I mean, do we start tomorrow, do we even go 30 days or 60 days? I mean, do you guys like have Joe try to market it? I mean, I think that's one of our better starting positions, isn't it, while we're waiting?
Yeah, that's what I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we wanna talk about different options, you know, now, or is it something we wanna, hold off? I guess, what's everybody's thoughts on it?
Well, like we talked to, Jesse, you know, the city is all about 100%, you know, promoting Gilbert equipment and making sure, you know, you succeed and have growth and prosperity within the town of Preston. You know, so what other things can we the scenario. You know, again, maybe it's have more conversation with him, give us some time to do that.
Yep.
If Joe's willing to, you know, put it up for a little while here and we have some conversation, because if it's, you know, again, you put a lot of tax dollars and we understand that. We don't wanna lose that.
And maybe double check, just make sure there ain't no utilities easements, you know, like
There's
that
a lot
was
of
all.
things you can check into.
Right, that was,
We could
I
check
didn't
into
see
it.
any, I used to do design and landscape and all that for,
Nothing
so
shows
I
a
looked
big
at the
extent.
county, I didn't see anything there, like I said, it just, that, you know, that lot is kinda landlocked. Luckily, you know, it was a great investment for me when we bought it from Grandma and Grandpa, and I'm glad they had the insight to buy it, but just, it's kinda landlocked. Luckily, there's that 30-foot, you know. We'd have to move a power pole, we'd have to redesign a bunch of drainage to be able to make, if that was the lot, and then again, there'd be a lot more traffic coming, you know, by a school zone, around the corner, driving in. Unfortunately, you can't control drivers anymore, and they tear up Mr. Feller's on the corner there, who's got a pristine yard, greatest neighbor in the world. Don't yell about anything, I feel bad, I go out and try to fix it every time I can. Bear Paw, I think they call them, on the other side, and the front tires get over there in the spring, so it just, we have a lot of low boys come in and they're extra long, extra wide, you know, and the drivers anymore ain't the smartest, so. It would just eliminate some of that, for me as well, so. Like I said, I want to air everything out and let you guys know where we're coming from and understand completely where you guys are coming from, and just hopefully we can come to a mutual agreement. down the road.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like I said, you know, we totally understand your guys' standpoint too. That's,
If he's got time and Joe's willing to put it up, let's give ourselves a little more time than just 2 weeks. Let's dig in.
that's what I'm wondering. I mean, Jess, you tell us, and Joe, same thing.
Well, yeah, this is fall back on Joe.
Is 6 months gonna make or break or hurt anything? You guys tell us.
I would like to have something going by this fall. Joe, I know probably
I mean,
would like to
sir,
invest the money.
Full disclosure, this is my problem, not your problem. I'm on a balloon note right now. So I'd love that 25,000 throughout the principal, but that's my problem, not your problem. So, I mean, obviously I want less,
Maybe 4
I
months.
just want
and see if
Jesse
we
to
get-
have it. So he, like, the fact that he wants me to try to sell it to somebody else, just so that hopefully it doesn't sell so that he can have it, so that it makes his life a lot easier. I mean, it's,
I just want to
Bigger man than me here.
I want to find a happy medium
But,
with everybody.
I mean, the smaller that window is, the better for me, obviously. But, I mean, I come here to work with you guys, that's why we're here.
Maybe do 3 or 4 months and see if there's any tire kickers, if it's, you know, haven't got one, or hey, I've got a, you know, and then extend it, you know, from there if we have to this fall, but.
I mean, cause like I said, there's a reason I haven't done this. Cause I want Jesse, I wanna help him out, you know?
Yeah.
Like I have zero ill intentions here. I don't know, I guess I'm kinda,
I just think advertising is best for both
for everybody but
parties
you.
right now. Everybody for me. I mean, I'd love to have it tomorrow. Beans just planted the crops in there today. I let Beans plant it for nothing just because they keep it nice and I know they spray it. You know, that lot's in a hayfield, so I ain't gonna we wouldn't break any ground till fall anyway. You know, like I said, I don't need it right away, and Cundy will probably delay me to the next fall to get in there and do the work, so. So I'm open to that if Mr. Joe is open to that, and like I said, I know he'd like the money sooner than later, but at least it gives us some options to say, hey, not one dang person called or been interested, or this lot don't suit anybody's needs. Maybe it is in best interest, or hey, this guy's kinda interested and he might be able to build next spring. That's great for the city and great for all of us.
Well, you guys chime in. What's everybody's opinion on?
I'd like to see that, give us some time, but I think if everybody's willing to, we can check into some things, we can get with them, we can check into storm sewer, we can check into easements, we can do some stuff like that.
I think voting on
Maybe
it
there's a
tonight
best of
is.
both worlds type of thing.
Yeah, there's too many unknowns, I think, that need to be answered.
Yeah, do a little bit of research on our side and.
Yeah, and I'd like to visit with the other neighbors too, just to make sure they're, you know, fine with it or whatever. Luckily, that's all, you know, it might help because that's gonna be new construction and new equipment, you know, back there versus kind of, you know, we got a lot of stuff going on at Kilburg equipment, but luckily it's tucked kind of in the corner. But,
I mean, do we wanna put a time frame on it, or just so everybody kinda?
Back in
Or is that
September
time frame
sometime?
Right now. What's that, Jess?
Maybe like September or something, or see how things are going.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking, yeah, put it, maybe not every meeting necessarily, but put it on agenda.
Once a
You know,
month?
yeah, we can touch on it and, you know, kind of feel it out.
Joe
you
can
know.
come let you guys know if, yeah, he's got
Yeah,
someone
instead of
interested.
putting like a hard deadline.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You guys are good with that? You guys, is that okay with you guys?
I mean, it does, yeah, I mean, the only thing keeping me from hiring, you know, Dana to try to sell it for me is because I'm trying to help Jesse out, so, I mean, it, obviously, this ain't,
Yeah, touch base with Dana tomorrow. She's busy. She's a good asset for this town. She moves a lot of houses.
but maybe, next time this is on the agenda, can we come up with a deadline so that, okay, come September 1st, we got no bites, nobody's interested, then, you know, can this be structured, I
Right.
guess? I don't wanna just
Yeah, I'm not.
leave Jesse flapping in a breeze here, you
No,
know?
right, and I don't want that either, that's not the intention either, you know,
Yeah.
it's just kinda let it slide and keep kicking the can down, that's not the
Yeah.
intention either, so, yeah. I'm good with, you know, if we push it table till next month, and then at the next meeting, if everybody wants to decide, hey, September 1, you know, everybody will reconvene and see where everybody's at, and, you know, kinda just go on from there.
Yeah, and I'll get some documents too, for Tim. And like I said, Tim has my number, he knows where I'm at, stop down and talk about it. Eastern Iowa will be doing all the work. Once they're shooting all the elevations and
Okay.
whatnot, so
Okay.
they know the fall and all that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, we'll table it for tonight, because like I said, we can't, vote on it anyway, but we'll put it on the agenda for next month. And then, we can decide from there after that, what kind of deadline.
Yeah, and this might spark some interest in it too, when
Yeah.
word gets out that
You
it's
never
a
know.
Joe
possibility.
actively tries to sell it, we'll just keep going.
Yep,
Yeah.
no. Thank you guys again, appreciate it.
Good night, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks.
guys, appreciate it. Okay, 13, resolution 2024-28, discussion and action of reassigned committees for 2025. So with JT, dropping off and Lisa coming on board, we kind of reassigned some stuff, and, I guess everybody taking a look at that. Any comments, concerns, suggestions with the committees that they were on? We did a little bit of changing, but nothing crazy. Lisa, just for a little bit of background with your background in the electric world, I kinda wanted you on the electric committee.
Yeah.
Not that they meet a ton, we haven't met very, very often since we did the power plant, but if something would to come up, or your experience there, I think would be very
That sounds
valuable,
good to me.
so. Yeah. So, we did a little bit of shuffling, but nothing crazy, so. Okay, everybody good with that, any other discussion?
It's good to be here.
Okay.
Good to me.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-28.
Second,
Second.
and roll call please.
Matt Shorty?
Yep.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Jill Meyer?
Yes.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Lisa Buddy?
Yes.
14, resolution 2024-29, discussion and action, authorization of 28D agreement for the Deep Creek Township. Is this the last one?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and this was drafted by, an attorney for Deep Creek Township. Got an attorney involved because of all the redistricting, and he was nice enough to include maps of all the different districts and everything in your packet, so, real nice to work with.
Good. Good deal. Okay, any other discussion needed on that? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve, resolution 2024-29, authorizing the 28A agreement for Deep Creek Township.
Second,
Second.
and roll call please.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Lisa Buddy?
Yes.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Jill Meyer?
Yes.
Matt Shorty?
Yeah.
Okay, other business, sidewalk update. We've been kinda of leaving this on here, having, kind of constant, discussion on this. Just trying to figure out a good game plan. So we talked about this last meeting, and we kind of, came up with the idea of setting a January 1, date for the letters to be, have they been sent out, or we need to send
No,
them out?
this is the second letter that, after last meeting, Tracy drew up, going by what we said at the meeting, the deadline and everything, so this is pretty much like final draft. If it's okay, we can go ahead and, send those out. It's just like it states January 1 to complete the necessary sidewalk repairs, or should we add like, or contact City Hall to discuss a plan, or, I don't know what.
I think it almost should say something like, either it's done by January 1, or there's, City Hall has been contacted somehow.
Right.
And a plan has been put in place.
Yeah.
And it would be done by, because obviously you can't do it in the winter, but there's plenty of time this year yet, but, funds could be challenging too, so you can give, benefit of the doubt, by June 1 of 26 or something, not to extend, with a plan not to extend.
Right.
You almost gotta still have a deadline.
Yeah.
You know, but either done or contact the city by January 1, city agrees, and job still has to be completed by June 1, July 1, whatever we decide. Otherwise, it just drags on and on and on.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of why we talked about this last meeting, was, just setting a date, because, yeah, it's hard unless you put some kind of deadline on it, it's hard to.
I like how that's worded too, that way it gives, get your plan to the office by January 1, and you've got another 6 months to, figure out how you pay for it.
Yeah, the drop dead deadline is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my big point is, we don't, if everybody took advantage of the sidewalk program this year, we wouldn't have the funds budgeted, but then that way, if we know who's contacted us by January 1st, then we can, hopefully budget more.
Right. It'll help us plan.
Exactly, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I think we just need to, we need to help promote, because, I lived on Amos Street, let's say, for 15 years now plus. And is there people that still walk on the sidewalk? Yeah, yes, there is. But is there a lot more people walk on the, on the street, a lot more people walk on the sidewalks? For sure. I see it every day, so, and we need to encourage people too. People get so used to just walking in the street, because there's a lot of places you have to walk in the street. You have no choice in the city. But if we can get not just ourselves, but other people to encourage, hey, jump up on the sidewalk, use the sidewalks, we're getting better at them, and maybe that's something we should put on Facebook, we encourage all citizens to use the sidewalks.
Yeah.
We're available, we're trying for safety to get off the streets, and especially on Amos, with the apartments down there, there's a lot of vehicles down there, a lot of young kids, and it has, helped out by people getting on the street, so, it is a little frustrating when you say, well, nobody uses sidewalks, I call bullshit on that, because they do, I see it every day. But we also have to encourage you,
Yeah, and to me, it's the city's responsibility to try and improve, safety throughout town, and sidewalks are a big step in that. So, not to rehash that whole thing, but yeah, it just made sense when we were doing that street project to put in sidewalks down there where there have never been sidewalks. I know it's a change for people that live down there, but again, if we didn't do it then, at what point would it have had to happen? It just wouldn't have.
great
So,
change for people.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I think that's just, that's one of the focus of this council, and that's the way we're proceeding, so, I think we will do more and more, hopefully, because it is a safety issue. We're just glad that block down there, the amount of traffic, and it's a busy street, there's a lot of people that walk on it too.
Yeah.
And to get people off the street and on the sidewalks is huge.
Yeah. And I think part of that issue just goes back to the gaps in the sidewalks where, when people start walking in the street, it's because there's no sidewalk there. And then
You take my street, for example, there's not a single person that walks on the street, but there's
Right.
sidewalks on both sides.
Yep.
Yep.
There's not a single person I've never seen a person walk down the street.
Yes, it's the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
They walk that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I've
if
seen
you
plenty
have
of
dogs
people.
or a friend, and it's understandable if that's their route,
Yeah.
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 You're gonna have a few, that's just the way it
missed this in the first go around of this, but, and I have a commercial property, but I'm never gonna have sidewalk there. 50% reimbursement for concrete and rebar for commercial. What was the reason for that? To only cover half of that instead of 100% up to the, because it's still up to $12.50, but if somebody does a commercial lot and it costs them $1,000 in concrete, then the city's only gonna pay $500 of it, or?
I think because it also covers the rebar part of it, maybe, it offsets,
I see.
kind of makes it the same.
Are we not putting rebar in all our sidewalks?
I know, but it doesn't cover that on the residential.
Residential
We only
part.
pay for just the concrete.
I see, okay.
You put more, a lot of you put more bars, it's a driving area.
Yeah, and a commercial property would probably have more
I see.
rebar.
And I think it's something we didn't necessarily write, we copied what somebody else had.
Yeah, I think
Got
you're
it.
right.
Yeah, okay.
That's probably the thinking behind that, I'm guessing.
So would it even out, I don't know, or not, but.
Yeah, doesn't matter to me, but I was just curious.
Okay, so if everybody's kind of good with that, we'll keep moving forward with that.
So if we make those changes like we discussed here, go ahead and send it out. We will also maybe after a week or so, once they get those letters, put out the text alert that we included. Sound like a plan?
Yeah. I think that sounds like a good idea. Okay, B, nuisance ordinance enforcement update. Marla was gonna come, tonight to talk to us about the ECIA program, but we kinda had a full agenda, so, Cheryl backed her off to the 27th, so. Also, I had a, local, another mayor reach out to me too, who might be interested in attending that meeting too, just FYI. They're looking kind of the same thing, and I told him that she was coming down here, so, anyway. Chad, you got any updates on anything? Okay. Everything else good?
Good as it gets. For now.
Where's the new car stand?
You looking
Kinda like
at
the
it.
street
You
signs?
looking at it right here, give me them sidewalks.
I can hold that chain on that bike if you
Yeah,
want.
we got a bike.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe 20 years ago.
What do you think, another couple weeks?
Yeah,
or-
no, it should be any day. He said last week he'd be pushing into this week, so hopefully tomorrow.
Sounds good.
At the mercy of them to
Yep,
finish
yep,
up.
yep, absolutely.
It's getting closer, I know that, so, yeah.
All right.
Oh, we did get the,
Oh, I seen your-
Getting a check from Galena Dodge, that should be
Oh.
coming soon,
Okay.
any day, so,
Okay.
for the Ford, so that's.
And then I seen your email too, all the speed signs.
Yeah,
Those are-
that program, the units that they were putting in these towns were failing, so they are kind of researching, they're kind of at a standstill, and trying to figure out how to fix that or get a different system, and then but we are on the list, it's just,
Yeah.
we have no date.
Yeah.
So that's where it's at.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'd rather take a little bit more time and have one that's gonna work.
Right. Fail right away.
Yeah. Okay, thanks Chad. Let's jump down to C, skid loader update. Yeah, this has been an ongoing discussion as well.
I didn't know if there
Matt-
were any updates, it just.
Yeah, Matt can kind of fill us in. He stopped down at Kuno's, last week, so Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, so last Friday I went down and talked to Abby, spent a couple hours with Abby, and we went through specs and went over skid loaders and stuff. And she was gonna try to have me a proposal for tonight, but it was kind of, pushing it for her too, so. We spec'd out, we came up with a good spec. We think we went and measured dump truck heights and, did the whole ball of wax. So we came up that, 65 Kubota or a 320 New Holland would be that good range, good size for us, with the hydraulic flow and lift capacity and height and all that kind of stuff. So she's gonna redo quotes again, have it all on one. There'll be that, they still have the used 320, which is hand foot controls. New 320, which they have to order, they don't have one in hand. really want to work with us and sell us something. She's going to put, it'll be the same bucket for all of them. So instead of separating the bucket out, it's gonna be right on the cost of the machine, because it's gonna be, everyone has to have a bucket.
Yeah, then it's apples to apples.
It's apples to apples, it'll be the same bucket on everyone, simplify things. The grapples gonna be on there. We talked to Land Pride, she called in, we talked to the Land Pride rep on the phone for a while about the grapple, and that STR 15 would be the one we would quote. If it's same size, again, they're apples to apples machines, pretty close, you know. And then the breaker. The breaker will be on the quote, but she's also going to put, don't hold me to this, but I think it was $225 a day for rent. So anybody that's been around a breaker knows a breaker's a lot of maintenance and a lot of things going on with a breaker. But if we could, you know, rent one for a day for $225 versus owning one, would be, I think, a good alternative for us to talk about. I brought up the question, you know, what if we blow a water main break at 4 o'clock in the morning and need a breaker?
On Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, she goes, well, there's more than one person that lives in Preston that would come unlock it for you, make sure you have it.
I was gonna say, lock
So
some
she goes,
years.
don't let that be a problem, we'll make sure we get it to you when you need it, you know? And so I think that would be a better alternative, instead of having to come up with $11,000 and then have maintenance on it and all that kind of stuff. If we can rent it, and I just thrown out, I don't know if we use it 10 times a year, 20 times a year, we rent it, we'll find out.
Yeah.
How much we use it, is it worth owning it? Or is it
Absolutely.
not worth owning it? And she said, you know, too, in the rental fleet, sometimes it might be one of those things that, hey, it's been a rental fleet, it's still a good piece of machine, maybe it's 50% off, maybe that's the time to buy it, you know, versus buying it. So I think that's would be a good alternative for us. So,
Plus you think $11,000, you take that, basically 4 for 225, you take damn near 50 times to pay for it.
exactly.
How many water main breaks,
Yeah.
could take 10 years.
Plus,
you know,
once you own
Everybody
it,
had for 10 years.
you own all the problems that
You
can
know,
That's
happen.
right.
and a breaker, there can be a lot of issues with a breaker. So, you know, by the time, you rent it for 10 years before you pay for it, and by then it might be shot and you need another one anyway. So
Yeah, absolutely.
some of those things that's one of those things I think it makes sense to rent, right?
Yeah, I agree. As long as they guarantee us whether, no matter what time of day or night it is on a Sunday.
And I think that's a conversation we need to have more.
Yeah.
You know, we just need to have that conversation with them more. And maybe it's sitting outside somewhere in a shed in the back, we can get access to it. too.
Yeah.
So, but she felt very comfortable saying we would get you one whenever time of day you needed it. You know, and again, you look at how many employees do we have in town, there's
Absolutely.
a lot, you know. So we'll get the quotes on the 3 machines. I did try to get a hold of Jason, I realized Jason was in Texas, so I bothered him like a half hour straight to come down and meet up with him, but I wanna get with Jason, in the next couple weeks, get him down there, since he's kind of been the one on the city side looking at it, get him down there and look at the machines with me too. Cause, you know, if we order one, we can go with ISO controls, which, you know, none of the guys, according to Jason, have any experience in a skid loader, so they'll be fine whatever they start out with. You know, if it won't matter, but the one thing about, you know, the ISO controls, it's all in your hands, not your feet. I like to control myself, but that's what I'm used to. But then if you have a hiccup with a leg or something, you can still run it just fine, because you're not using your feet. There's different ways to look at it, you know? Again, I think whatever way, if we went with the used machine, they'd be just fine in that, and if we went with a new, they're gonna adapt to whatever you get. No big deal.
What kind of warranty does this come with?
So she's get all that information for me.
Gotcha.
All that information will be on proposals, warranties, and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, so we'll have warranties on, old machine, there is no warranty. You know, old machine for
That's
that
what I
price.
assumed, yeah.
It hasn't been serviced, it's as is, where is type of thing.
Yep.
You know, so we can play that out, you know, versus a new machine with warranty on both machines. You know, and there's some things, it's more money, you know, if we wanna go, like with the New Holland, that doesn't have, the digital, screen. So it doesn't have the backup camera, and you can't go in there and from the screen adjust the hydraulics, so it's not so jerky.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do all that. With the newer one, you can do all that on the screen, you can kind of fine tune it to the
With the
operator,
new,
things like that.
this guy.
With the new one. And I think that this one, you know, if you go with the used machine, you don't have all those, but again, it might fit our needs better too, price wise. We'll just see what everything comes in at. And she was gonna option out the digital screen. I think it comes standard on the Kubota, though she's gonna option it out on the New Holland, because I think it was like a $6,500 option. It's pretty high. So we'll be able to go through that, and, again, they will hold it, to July 1 if we wanted to. But it might not be a bad idea to make a decision so she can kind of lock one in for us.
You would need to keep holding it until, you know, for how, I mean, this, how long they've been holding it
Yeah,
now.
and they're not holding, they're not holding anything now.
Oh, okay.
You know, everything, if it sells today, it's gone.
Okay.
So nothing is being held, and I told her to continue that way, that's
Yeah,
not
that's
fair of
right.
us to
Yeah,
ask her
yeah,
to hold
right,
anything.
right, no.
You know, so if we miss the vote on something, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know. Then the New Holland will be no big deal. The Kubotas, there's a couple 24s down there yet, so prices are gonna go up for 25, so if we wanted to go Kubota, we can make those decisions and see.
Is that 2020, is that all standard equipment they have listed, or is there some additional things on there that would?
Pretty much, there's some, like, air right seat, you can get it without air right seat, it's got a heated seat, you can get it without that, but it's.
But they're all coming with heat and air, they're coming with block heaters,
Yeah.
that's standard equipment
Yeah,
on the new stuff.
pretty standard. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if there was like, this thing was jacked out to the nines, you know, with all these extra accessories.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all. So next meeting, we can have, we'll have quotes and information. Again, I'll try to get Jason down there.
Yeah.
And have him sit in line and get.
Yeah, I think the next meeting, we take it out of the business and let's put it on the agenda and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we can.
Can I ask Jason?
Yeah.
Make a decision,
Be ready
because
to
I think we got a machine, we got machines figured out,
Right,
size and
right.
spec, and
Yeah.
now we
I-
can,
You know, figure out which one we're going with.
now we know where we're going with,
Yeah.
you know, and we'll have a bucket, you know, and then whether we wanna, it'll come with a bucket, even if we don't wanna do anything else.
Yeah.
And we can run a grapple, they rent those too.
Sure.
Anything we need, they rent. So, that's where we're at there.
Okay.
Appreciate the legwork you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, no doubt about it. Okay, is there any other business? Shirley, got
Oh, I
anything?
had town hall door on there yet, but I.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of starting, I had in the packet last time, we had a
Yes.
quote on it from Castle Construction, he did the bathrooms, doors for us. He would just put in a basic, door, and that cost was gonna be $3,600. We said maybe while we're gonna do the door, maybe we wanna spruce up the entryway or get a nicer door, so this is kind of the early planning. I did reach out to the people, Doors Incorporated did our, handicap, they fixed them, so they work. So I just thought I'd see what he had to offer, and he kind of gave me just a visual of something. The doors he makes are, pre-primed, we could paint them any color we want, or have someone paint them. You know, they would come just primed, and you could get we think it's important to have like a push and exit, you know, that kind of.
The thing is you can use your back to hit it and stuff, yeah.
And just the full length makes it just a little more appealing when you,
Right.
but, it's just something we.
The entrance to the town hall is not very appealing.
And I told her to maybe tinted glass versus just clear, just
Well,
because
Yeah.
if you're
bad
renting
idea.
it for.
That's what I
wedding
thought, or have some
something,
sort of
You don't want
shade.
everybody,
Yeah, that's true.
So his
You
quote,
can get the door, I mean, we got one on ours, it's a full glass door, but it's got the blind in the middle. Yeah, in between the panes, whatever, it's
Right.
awesome.
I think it'd be good to have full glass because it's a small child right there or something, you could, because right
Yeah.
now you can't see.
you know,
it.
wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess my thinking on it too was trying to, and again, I know it comes down to money, but just sprucing up that whole entryway, you know, we need to do something better there.
I mean, the
It's-
quote
it's
for
not-
just the door, the full glass galvanized door, installation material listed. Ray's still uncertain how bad the frame actually is, and you won't know until you get the old one out. So they're really, and I think that's something he could probably do as well. So that was $4,200, and so it's, yes, more than the plain door, but it is a little bit more
Yeah.
attractive, so.
And I don't know too, you know, like on the inside there, you know, like probably new soffit on top. I don't know what kind of lights up there, you know.
Is there a light up there?
There is a light.
I don't think
Isn't there a light? Okay.
very small one, I think, if there is, yeah.
New soffit up top, and then I guess whether, we wanna do like a siding, or like like a shake siding, or like a batten siding, or.
Just something lighter, brighter.
Like, yeah, or like
Literally
even,
anything different.
or even like a stone, like, I don't know, I'm just.
Something that can take a beating, because people are gonna be leaning up against it.
Yeah,
knocking
yeah,
stuff
right.
into it. So I'd be a little worried about siding or something that,
Right.
Something durable.
Right.
But I think, again, it is more money, but, you get curb appeal, hopefully more people wanna use the facility too, but what we did, what the improvements we've done in the interior of it,
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that, I think it.
And I think for the events it does get used for, I think it should get sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's our town hall, like,
Right.
you want it to be, inviting and nice and, take pride in it, so.
And
So I think now's the time, if we're gonna replace the door anyway, now's the time to.
I think about it too, like, making this investment, yes, it costs us in this year, but it's gonna last us 20 years, or however long, 20, 40 years, I mean, how long, I don't know,
I
how
think
long.
it's
it's
Yeah,
been,
like,
like,
when I went to Boy Scouts.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah, I
like,
was gonna say, it's been that
like, how long that's
long.
lasted us, and I'm sure it wasn't cheap when they did it back then, but you spread that cost out over.
I
Right.
think
You don't see
included
the
in this
sun, you don't
packet,
see
but
nothing.
just
Yeah,
kind
you
of
don't see the weather, yeah.
image that I had Googled, with the updated, look.
Yeah.
And Ray did say today, because he's good at ordering that kind of thing and working with those things, that he's reached out to trying to see what he could find similar to something we've been looking for.
Right.
He's like, he almost gotta go with an industrial company of some sort, because he just can't.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It needs to
A lot
be
of use,
commercial.
a lot of heavy use.
Right.
You gotta go with commercial.
It needs a
you know,
commercial,
basically.
commercial door.
Yeah, I think if we're trying to encourage people to do facade improvements, that'd be a good way for us to show that we're doing the same.
I wonder if we can use it for ourselves.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to do that software wouldn't take a whole lot.
What's that?
That software wouldn't take a whole lot.
No,
Yeah.
It's like some break if I do software.
Yeah, that's easy, that's piece of cake stuff. Yeah, I get, it's just try to get some discussion going and some thoughts, and what everybody,
We'll keep working on it.
yeah, input is,
If
and,
anybody sees anything out there they like.
yeah,
we can-
exactly, keep your eyes open, and if you see something you like, shoot it over to Cheryl or Tracy, and try to.
Yeah, and even ask the ladies that put on the winter fair and everything,
Yeah.
get their input, they do a lot of work in there, let's include some, organizations that use it.
Yeah.
I think
They
that's,
have way better taste than I do.
let them have a little buy-in, that'd be awesome,
So, yeah, we'll kind of keep this on there, and then, try to come to an idea here soon, so. Okay, I think that's last one, so. Okay. Okay, this is any other business to bring up? I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Lisa, you wanna do it?
Yeah,